Hi everyone, welcome to the Shack. I'm Trina,
And I'm Steph.
and it's lovely to have you back with us again, doing another episode, which I can't tell you about because I've got my phone with my notes on the wrong thing.
You see, she's off to a good start already, folks.
I did
Looking
try.
good. We're talking about fairies and the fae.
We are, and look, the light has a new battery in it, and it makes pretty.
Well, it makes
patterns.
light. It's a light. That's
Yeah, but
literally its job. It has one job: is to be a light.
Yeah, but it does another job. It's almost like a disco ball. Yeah, there we go. Swing that light.
Pretty patterns.
And step just far enough off the path where the forest gets a little too quiet. Because fairies are not the glitter-sprinkled garden decorators that modern stories would have us believe. In older folklore, they're closer to ancient neighbours with very strange rules.
We know some of these rules. We have talked about some of these before.
And I tell you what, you will find this fascinating because it's similar to other things that we've talked about. Before we just go into it, I'm just going to ask you what you're drinking.
I know my glass says Guinness. It's not. It's water. But I do have a second beverage today because one is for hydration and the other one's just because it tastes nice because I've got a little bit of spiced rum.
Oh my goodness. You're showing off. I've got
I know.
a very pale, no sugar squash because it is rather warm.
It is a bit of a warm one today. It has been a week, to be fair.
So, yes, also keeping hydrated here as well. It is. So, the term fairy actually comes from the Old French fae or fairy, which referred more to a place or a realm than a species. Across Irish and British folklore, people avoided saying fairy at all, let alone a specific fairy's name, because naming was seen as a direct summons or a challenge.
Yeah, we know the importance of a name.
Yeah. In Irish tradition, the fairy host was so feared that people used euphemisms like the good folk, the fair ones, or the gentry. Several intertwined ideas made names perilous. The names equaled power. And many Celtic and European traditions knowing a being's true name gave you influence over it, but it also meant it could find or influence you. Where have we heard that before? He who must not be named.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Fear of a name. Sorry. I'm shutting up now.
Calling a fairy by name was like opening a door that you couldn't close. Fairies in Irish and Scottish lore were not harmless sprites, but powerful, unpredictable beings, tied to the dead, the land, and liminal spaces. Drawing their attention could bring illness, misfortune, and strange encounters. In Gaelic tradition, fairies were addressed only with respectful titles such as Sith, the peaceful people, or the good folk, to avoid offending them. Don't piss off the fairies.
Don't piss off the fae. It's not wise. It's not clever.
Naming them directly was considered disrespectful, and disrespect invited retaliation. Irish folklore is full of warnings that upsetting fairies could affect your health, your livestock, your home, or your luck. Naming them improperly was one of the many ways to offend them. So think of this as a polite survival strategy. The first little thing, after the naming, they weren't tiny, and they definitely weren't cute. The idea of pretty or beautiful winged thumb-sized fairies is largely a Victorian invention. Earlier tales described them as human size or taller.
I heard them said to look like children, in the sense of you couldn't tell the difference between a child and a fairy, but you could if they were crying, then they were human, because apparently the fairies don't know how to cry.
Right. There are so many different, and it depends
Yeah,
where you come
absolutely.
from.
I don't know where that particular reference came from, but that was what I saw, and I was like, oh, I quite like that.
I will come back to that in a little while. So they were human size or taller, pale, luminous, or oddly too perfect, a bit like Mary Poppins.
I think is that like a too perfect kind of like Mary Poppins type thing, or is it like an uncanny valley thing? You know?
I don't know. What is that?
Do you know what I mean?
I don't.
No. Uncanny valley is a thing. It's so it's when something has the appearance of being human, but it's just enough off human to be a little weird.
Yes, I think
that's the uncanny valley thing. So at least I think that's my understanding of it anyway.
Yeah.
So I get the feeling that it's a little bit more that. So it's kind of like these robots they're bringing out, you know, where they're so human looking that it's just weird, you know. That's the uncanny valley thing.
Well, the next thing says sometimes slightly wrong. Elongated limbs, hollow eyes, and unnatural movements. They could blend in, but something always felt off, like holding a smile half a second too long. The main size categories in traditional folklore: the very small fairies, a few inches tall. Several Scottish and northern British accounts describe fairies so small that they could dance on reeds and heather. One sighting described them as tiny people dressed in green emerging from a knoll at sunset. Another reported a fairy only 6 inches tall, dressed in red, with a white beard reaching his knees. So a male fairy, that one.
I was going to say there's a lot of them actually that
there is.
We always think of fairies as being female.
Yeah,
lots. And yet a lot of this
it references
are referenced around a male.
Yeah,
yeah, it's interesting.
You're going to like this one. The little people, in brackets, child size or half human height. Many British and Scottish traditions describe fairies as half the size of a human, often appearing in groups. Some were described as little people with very dark skin.
Do they live in the Shire and have hairy feet?
Possibly.
Because if they don't, they should.
Sometimes intimidating in number. So lots of them. The size category is extremely common in Celtic lore. Small enough to be otherworldly, large enough to be mistaken for humans at a distance. Then there were human-sized fairies. Some fairies, especially the more powerful or noble types, who were believed to be the same height as humans. It was said that fairies could appear as dwarf-like beings, tiny sprites, or human-sized figures, depending on the tradition. This includes beings like the Bean Sith or the Banshee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so or Bean Nye, who were often indistinguishable from mortal women until their supernatural nature revealed itself.
Okay, that's a bit creepy.
Yeah, it is very creepy. It gets creepier. There are changelings and outliers. These were strange exceptions. Changelings were fairy beings swapped for human infants, and these were usually the size of the stolen child, but some accounts describe bizarre exceptions. One changeling was said to be 7 feet tall. Another appeared. Go.
This is because they're not technically that size, like the size of the child. They replace the child, but they have like a glamour that makes them, the person who's seeing them, see the child that they think they're supposed to see. So the changeling themselves don't look anything like that.
Mm. Yeah. Another appeared as a baby to the parents, but was seen as a grown man by a maid when they were absent. Mm. These stories underline how fluid and uncanny fairy size could be. The size of a fairy often signalled its type, temperament, and danger level. Tiny fairies were quick, elusive, and often tricksters. Child-sized fairies were communal.
They might have.
They're territorial and sometimes threatening. Human-sized fairies were powerful, noble, or ominous. Changelings were uncanny, deceptive, boundary crossing, so they cross that boundary from fairy life to human. Folklore wasn't trying to create a consistent taxonomy, it was describing encounters, fears, and cultural memory. In the fairy world...
Can I just clarify that taxonomy has nothing to do with taxes?
No.
There was some confusion over this when I started my course. Taxonomy is the classifications of animals and different species and different, the taxonomy being like the kingdom of animals, the class, the order, all of that jazz. Okay, it's the classifications of animal or classifications of living things.
Okay, so that makes that quite clear then, because folklore itself wasn't trying to create a consistent taxonomy.
A classification.
No. Yeah, classification. It was actually describing encounters with beings, the fears and the cultural memory of that, the stories that were being told.
Yeah.
Time works differently in fairy realms. One of the creepiest reoccurring motives is time distortion. People who wander onto fairy mounds or fairy rings might spend what felt like a night dancing, only to return and find years or centuries have passed. We looked at this a little bit when we discussed one of the fairy tales.
Yes, it was the Cornish fairy tale of the was it the woman who did the spinning? She spun the clothing for the king or something. And it was a Rumpelstiltskin reference. I think it was in that episode.
Was it the Rumpelstiltskin? But I thought there was also one in the. It was either Cinderella or didn't.
I can't remember.
I can't remember. We're going to have to go back and have a listen.
Have to go back and have a listen.
Because there is a bit where she gets taken away for some reason and then brought back, and then time has passed when she gets back.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I can't remember which episode that was. Anyway.
We'll have to go back and listen. Our
if
listeners.
You know what episode it was, listeners.
Yeah, if you've just listened to it.
Us. Yeah.
Or worse, if you eat or drink fairy food, and then you would be unable to return at all.
Yeah. Don't eat it. Don't eat it.
There is there is a quiet horror in that no violence, just erasure from your own life. So it's like you just disappear and never come back. So never accept food or drink from the fairy realm. This comes up again and again across British, Irish and Breton law. If you eat fairy food, you belong to them. You may forget your old life, and you may physically but be unable to leave. In some stories, humans rescued from fairy realms crumbled into dust the moment they touched earthly food again, like time finally caught up with them all at once. So I had a look at what fairies actually eat in Celtic and British folklore. Dairy is the most consistent fairy favourite. Across Irish and Scottish traditions, fairies were strongly associated with livestock and milk. They were believed to steal fresh milk, cream, and newly churned butter, sometimes even the essence of the food rather than the food itself. One source notes that fairies were thought to influence milk production and that people left dairy offerings to stay in their good favour. They also like sweet things, cakes, honey, fruit. Irish fairies in particular were said to love cakes, biscuits, trifles, sweet toast, honey, and sweet fruits. These were common offerings left on windowsills or near thresholds. Bread, grains, and simple human staples was another food. Fairies were notorious for stealing bread, grains, and other everyday foods from homes and fields. Folklorists note that fairies often took the nutritional essence from human food, leaving it dry and useless otherwise.
Do you have a list of the laws, the things you don't do?
I may be getting to them later.
Okay.
But if you've got the list, then we'll have a listen to your list.
I do have a little list here.
Okay. So,
and what you were just saying about accepting food and things like that, one of them is about accepting gifts, but never accept food or drink from them.
yeah.
Fae food is highly enchanted. Eating it whilst you're in their realm. Okay. So eating it whilst in, and I'm going to butcher this, I think it's Tainanog. I butchered that. It will permanently bind you to their realm, forcing you to stay forever. Furthermore, consuming their food ruins your palate for human sustenance. You will no longer hunger for mortal food, meaning you will inevitably starve to death unless the Fae takes care of you.
Yeah. They also do drinks, ale, mead, water, and herbal infusions. Traditional offerings include ale, mead, fresh water, and herbal teas. These appear in multiple European traditions and are listed among typical fairy foods. There are regional differences. In the Irish and the British Isles, the gentler fairy traditions, they prefer sweet foods, dairy, honey, fresh fruit. They rarely associated with eating meat. Offerings were meant to earn goodwill or avoid mischief, so that's why you would offer them. Central and Eastern Europe, they were household sprites, kobolds, and Domovii, I don't know, Domovoi. These were the spirits or the fairy people. That's the names that they were given. Preferences varied. Some accepted salt, others avoid it entirely. Foods included bread, meat, herbs, and mushrooms. European fairies that were really goblins, trolls, or gnomes. Some European traditions classified trolls, goblins, and gnomes as fairies, and these beings were said to eat meat, even raiding graveyards in darker tales.
Oh, come on. I mean, I've heard of like week-long hung beef, but come on.
Yeah, that really,
I can't even help it. Like, the concept of eating people, right? Let's face it, guys, you don't know where it's been or what it's been eating.
But then if you're...
when the French eat snails, they flush them first. Like they
Yeah.
feed them on like a strict diet to make sure that all the
But
badness that they've been eating beforehand is all gone.
But I suppose if you're a troll or a goblin,
maybe you don't care.
Maybe you don't care.
Yeah, bit of extra
This
flavour.
this itself, raiding the graveyards and eating meat, this is very different from the Celtic image of the good folk. The most traditional fairy foods cross-culture are based on combined sources of milk, cream, butter, honey cakes, bread, fresh fruits, sweets, ale and mead, herbs, tea, mushrooms, and meat, only in some European traditions. The legends of the changelings, the dark side of fairy interest, one of the most unsettling beliefs is that fairies were said to steal human babies and replace them with a sickly fairy child or a glamoured object, which is what you said, like a bundle of sticks made to look like a baby. These changelings might age strangely, behave oddly, show unnatural knowledge or malice. And historically, this belief led to some tragic real-world consequences. And that just heads up for a few warnings here. I am not going to go into too much detail because some of it is horrendous, but I will hint at it.
Okay.
Several sources note that many children thought to be changelings were simply born with developmental conditions. Yeah.
Well, this is very similar to people that have had things like epilepsy in history, and that they were suddenly considered to be possessed, or
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
yeah.
Again, this is where I don't know isn't an option. We have to put a solution in there somewhere, and therefore demons, or therefore changelings, or
yeah.
And it's crazy how history does that. How people do that over history.
So children with illnesses, disabilities that families could not explain. Modern scholars argue that changeling stories often arose as attempts to explain conditions like autism, physical deformities, or chronic illness.
Wow.
Because the child's behaviour or appearance changed suddenly or never matched their expectations, families believed the real child had been taken. This misunderstanding often led to neglect, fear, or even violence, because parents thought they were dealing with a supernatural imposter rather than a sick child.
Just awful,
and it is heartbreaking. Some of the things we're obviously leaning towards certain treatments towards children,
and
where
it's also where these kinds of treatments are then somehow justified. Because that's not my child. How absolutely world breaking that is for the child.
Yeah. And
I
some of these
even imagine
these treatments were done to justify forcing the changeling to reveal itself.
Make tea in an eggshell. There you go. That's a great way. Great way. They can't stay there. That's it. Yeah. Nice and simple.
Yeah. So some traditions
Stop
claimed
treating your children like shit. Just stop it.
Some traditions claimed a changeling could be forced to speak, laugh, or flee if certain things were done to it.
Make tea in an eggshell. See? That's it.
But I'm not going to go into some of the things that were done to some of these children. This belief led to numerous cases of actual child
physical
abuse.
Violence.
Yeah. As parents attempted to prove that the child was not human. These were not fringe practices. They appeared repeatedly in lots and lots of historical accounts. Folklorist D.L. Ashliman argues that in pre-industrial Europe, a family's survival depended on every member contributing. And I don't think it was just in Europe either. I think it was in lots of other places as well. A child who was chronically ill or unable to work could be seen as a threat to the family's survival. He notes that changeling tales often mention the child's ravenous appetite, suggesting that some families viewed such children as an unbearable burden, and that infanticide was sometimes the tragic outcome.
Oh, my life.
Masked by the changeling narrative.
Yeah.
This is one of the darkest interpretations. The myth became a way to rationalise or conceal the unaliving of unwanted or severely ill children. And there is a particular case, the Bridget Cleary case, is a modern echo of ancient fears. One of the most infamous real-world tragedies linked to changeling belief is the 1895 murder of Bridget Cleary in Ireland. Her husband and relatives believed that she had been taken by fairies and replaced with a changeling because she became ill and behaved strangely. She was extremely badly treated and ultimately unalived in an attempt to drive out the fairy. This case is widely discussed in modern folklore studies as a chilling example of how deeply these beliefs persisted. If anyone has ever watched Outlander,
I'm sure a lot of our listeners will have.
The series Outlander, there is a part in that where Claire, one of the main characters, who is she's a nurse, and trains actually to be a doctor eventually, but she is a nurse and she gets involved in trying to save a child that's been placed in a tree and left because they're trying to send the changeling back. And she realizes that the child is just poorly and just, yeah. So, yeah, it's depicted in that a little bit. Some stories describe mothers forced to work immediately after childbirth, leaving infants unattended in fields or homes. One German...
America. Sorry. Yes. Maternity leave is a right. It's a right. And it may not be for you, but it is for the child. Okay, I'm shutting up.
But it is for you too.
Yes,
sometimes you do need to heal a bit after having children.
Oh my goodness, not just physically either. You know, it should be a right for the relationship between you and your child. That should not be underestimated.
Yeah.
And I digress.
Yeah, you can very much get on a
soapbox.
On your little soapbox, yeah.
I'll put my soapbox away now, I'm done.
Yeah.
Thanks.
One German tale recounts a new mother who had to harvest hay only a week after giving birth. When she returned, her baby's behaviour had changed. Now, I wonder why. Maybe she was like starving hungry or didn't feel an attachment to the mother, was being left in wet nappies. I don't know. But it had changed so drastically that she believed it was a changeling. These accounts reflect postpartum exhaustion, lack of support, harsh labour demands, and grief and guilt. Folklore beliefs became a way to explain trauma that had no safe outlet. So let's just brush off all of that for a minute.
I'll tell you what. Do you know what? Let's have something nice. Let's sandwich it between something nice.
Sandwich it. Tell me something nice about fairies, will you?
Okay. So I'm going to tell you just a couple of nice fairy stories that are out there. So we have the first one I have here. Oh, hang on a minute. I'm not at the top of the page. First one I have is Tweeny Bunting. Tweeny Bunting. It's a short tale of a lost fairy. It's a little lost fairy in the land of snow. And he takes a job with Jack Frost painting snow pictures on the windows for the children to see in the morning.
Oh.
It's adorable. I love it. I have a Hans Christian Andersen tale, which is called The Elfin Hill. And that is: an invitation is sent by a raven, a grand banquet of frogs, and an old goblin in search of a wife. There you go. And the most adorable one of all, and there's a few more on here, so if we've got any more heavy tales, we might enter these in later.
Okay.
But the sea fairy and the land fairy. And it's two quarreling fairies that have to they are quarreling about whose land is best, whether it's great to live on the land or it's great to live in the sea. And they have to consult the sea anemone, who technically lives in both. So so they take him three treasures. They take him three treasures, and he has to choose which one of them is the best place to live. I won't tell you how it ends, but I will tell you that the sea fairy was called Laughing Sapphire.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And the land fairy, Sweet of the Mountain. He's called.
Aww. That is so
adorable.
cool.
And it's a really, really lovely story. Anyway, they, I think, are very much aimed at children, but beautiful. Yeah, it's two quarreling fairies, a sleepy anemone, and a rainbow in a shell.
Very nice.
Yeah. There you go. And that's a story from Fairyland. There you go.
There we go. That's a nice little sandwich there in between.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll just continue to sandwich these in.
Okay. Well, I've got the other bit of bread now. Okay.
Go on then.
Fairy rings aren't just pretty mushrooms. Sorry, folks. Those perfect circles of mushrooms, beautiful, but traditionally must be avoided at all costs.
I've got a rule here. This is one of the rules, is to never stand in a fairy ring. And the reason's here. So fairy rings are rings of mushrooms growing where a tree has died. They are dimensional portals created by highly powerful fae. Standing in one is a fatal mistake. You may become trapped in the ring, where time suffers massive time slips all over the place.
Yeah.
Centuries pass outside while seconds pass inside.
Yeah.
You may be teleported to their world. And again, I'm not going to butcher that name again, because we're not going to do that. As a prisoner, or the portal's creator may simply kill you for trespassing. There you go.
Yeah.
It's just bad. It's just bad. Don't do it.
It's just
Don't
bad.
stand in them.
It's exactly what I've got down here. Portals.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. No, that's absolutely fine. And it's also sometimes places where fairies danced at night. But it is their realm. And it's best not to trespass.
And don't join a fairy dance. That's another rule.
Yeah.
Is if you hear music in the woods, it is best to plug your ears and walk away.
Yes.
Their music is designed to ensnare. They ensnare the mortal mind.
There you go.
If a humanoid joins their dancing, they won't be able to stop until they die of exhaustion.
That's
or
right.
Their feet wear down to the bone.
Yeah.
Plus, time moves much slower during the dance, meaning centuries could pass outside.
Yeah.
Don't do it, folks. Don't do it.
Even today, in parts of rural France and the UK, people will still walk around a fairy ring rather than through it. Okay, I have something special here. Now, people have seen, if they've watched my TikToks, they will have seen this. This is called a witch's key. It is made it's a real key. If you're listening to this, You'll have to go on the socials and have a look, because I'll try and put a photograph on.
Or if we show the video of this, it will be on YouTube.
It'll be on YouTube. Yeah, you can go to YouTube and go to our channel and have a look. But this is our witch's key, which I keep on the door to the shack.
which I keep on the door.
which I keep on the door.
Which.
And it is an iron key. So iron is a great fairy repellent.
It's also one of the rules, because they do say to never carry iron. And that's only because it annoys them, because it messes with their mojo.
It does.
The Fae despises iron. It disrupts their magic and burns them, acting similarly to how I can't even say that. Dimertium?
Don't know.
Dimertium? I don't know. Whatever. I'm sure somebody out there is telling me exactly how to say it, and I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
Please send us a voice note.
Yeah, so how that particular thing affects mortal mages. Only carry it if your explicit goal is to make them avoid you or to kill them.
It says here on mine, it's very similar. Fairies are often said to have an aversion to iron. Horseshoes above doors and built into homes. That is so common here in Brittany.
Yep.
So common. Iron nails in thresholds and doors, and carrying a small iron object for protection. So there you go. It's a fascinating detail. Iron represents industry, humanity, and progress. Everything the old world spirits were losing ground to. So that's one of the reasons they don't like it. Okay. Breton and Celtic flavour. I have a little bit about this. Given that we're in Brittany, we've got a treasure trove right under our feet. And this is where Steph and I were talking about the possibility of us going out and actually doing some videos out in real Brittany and finding out about these fascinating little folks, Breton fairy type beings called the Corrigans. So the Corrigans are Breton's fairy-like beings. They are mischievous, seductive, and dangerous. They're often associated with springs, dolmens. I did find out a dolmen is a type of megalithic burial structure, typically consisting of 2 or more upright stones, like megaliths, a massive flat capstone laid across the top. Originally, it was covered by earth or smaller stones to form a burial mound, most of which has eroded away today. So that's
got another name, hasn't it? Is it a tor?
I'm not sure. It might be in Cornish.
Yeah.
Might be in Breton.
I don't know how to spell it. That's the thing.
Tor is normally T-O-R or T-O-R-R. But that's normally something, I don't know.
No, it's not what I'm thinking of. Oh, for heaven's sake, what is it?
Steph doing her research there. I'll carry on a minute.
Yes, carry on.
They're often associated with springs, dolmens, and ancient stones. They are known to lure travellers at night or guard hidden treasures. They are beautiful from afar, but unsettling up close. I wouldn't get too close. The Corrigans are not necessarily evil in a simple sense. They are otherworldly, and they are bound by rules that humans don't fully understand. There is a bit like the rules that Steph's been telling you about.
I got some more of those, so we'll cover some more in a minute.
Yeah.
Coit is the word I was looking for. I'm so sorry. I feel all accomplished now because coit being the standing stones that stand around and then the big flat one that sits on the top. And they were previously underground and they are now out of the ground.
Okay, got it.
At least that's a thing.
I am going on to say that not all fairies are malicious, but they're never harmless. There are helpful fairies, house spirits that assist with chores if respected properly. We have spoken about otherworldly peoples, beings who come in and do chores, and you have to be very careful about
Brownies.
the brownies and the
Well, the other thing was that about saying thank you, because one of the things that they have for the Fae is that you do not ever say thank you, which you would think would be, because one of them is not to be rude, right? But then don't say thank you. And it's because it has to be done in a certain way. So verbally saying thank you implies that you are formally indebted to them. They don't like this, granting them leverage over you. So they will, don't do that. Instead, express gratitude by saying phrases like, I am grateful for this. Not thank you. But don't ever accept gifts from them. A strange fairy never gives gifts without expecting something in return. If you do not trust the giver, it is best to destroy the gift. If you must accept it, remember rule 1, never say thank you, as it implies you owe them something in return, which could range from a favor to food to your firstborn child. Yes. So yeah, there's that. There's more. But carry on, do your thing, because I'll chip them in every time I come across something.
Okay, so we talked about house spirits that assist with chores if respected properly. Obviously, you need to know how to respect them properly. Guides or protectors in certain tales, but even the good ones expect strict etiquette. I can't speak.
Absolutely.
Can turn hostile if disrespected. Operate on a completely different moral compass.
Absolutely. One of these says you must not ever lie to the Fae. The Fae are physically and magically incapable of lying directly. Because of this, they absolutely despise liars. It's kind of like when there's that genie that can be very mischievous and cunning. And there was one particular time when I was watching something about genies, and they were saying, say you wish for a new car, right? They have to get it somehow. There has to be a roundabout kind of way, and it's going to sting you. So essentially, you wish for a car, and the next day your father will die and you inherit the car, right? So this is double-edged kind of thing. So I wish for this, but that happens, and it's never just a simple thing. And I think this is where the don't lie thing comes in, because one would argue that they are cunning and mischievous and kind of trying like goad you into doing things, not technically lying. They're just finding ways around it. And it does say always keep your word. The Fae fiercely hate cheats and oath breakers. If you make a promise to a Fae, you are magically and socially bound to keep it.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it says here, even the good ones expect strict etiquette, can turn hostile if disrespected, and operate on a completely different moral compass.
You're having a day of that today, aren't you?
Sitting on a compost heap.
Much compost.
Kindness doesn't mean safety. It just means the rules are slightly more forgiving. Some haunting thoughts. Here we go. Maybe fairies aren't just magical creatures. They might be the remnants of ancient spirits, nature itself with a consciousness, or something that existed before humans and simply never left.
I kind of like it as being like the personification of nature. I kind of like that, because it's brutal and sort of malicious, but at the same time, I kind of like it. You were talking about household fairies and doing your chores and things. I just have to reference the other rule that I have here, which is never dump dirty water out without warning. Apparently that's the thing. The Fae violently hate dirty water. In their world, one should never throw dirty water outside without first verbally warning any Fae, visible or invisible, to move out of the way. Soiling the Fae is viewed as a massive insult, as I think it should be, to be fair.
Yeah.
The societal equivalent to spitting or urinating on them, and can cost you your life.
Ooh. Yeah, don't upset the fairies.
Yeah,
don't
don't
piss off the fairies. I have to say, when I was a little girl, if I left my toys out, they would disappear. If I didn't tidy my toys away, they would disappear. And when I then spoke to my mum and said, "Where's my doll or my..."
Enter lost object here, yeah?
Yeah, enter any lost object at all, she would say, "Did you put it away?" And if I said no, she would say, "Well, then the fairies have got it. They've taken it." God, I hated those fairies.
Do you know, the only time I remember as a child being told about the fairies in growing up was when you'd done something shitty to somebody, and then you'd like trip up the stairs, or you'd stub your toe.
Absolutely.
And it was like, oh, fairies got you. Fairies
got you. Yeah.
And the fairies got you back.
It's almost like karma.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the karma fairies. You do something to someone else, and the fairies will get you back.
Yeah.
So I was very, very wary of fairies as I grew up.
So while we're talking about being wary of fairies, fairy fairies,
scary fairies, wary of fairies.
Oh dear, it's only going to get worse. So another couple of rules that I have here is never brag about your interactions with them.
Oh,
okay? They value privacy and secrets above all else. If you boast about dealing with them, you have to boast about it.
Oh no, I don't. Never.
You will be targeted for retaliation, ranging from mild inconveniences to life-threatening danger. Or one of the things that they don't like as well is to be spied on, or if you try to capture their likeness without their permission.
Oh.
Yeah, observing them from the shadows or attempting to paint or draw them without their explicit permission is considered highly rude and deeply taboo.
Wow.
Yeah. And another one that we have already talked about already, which is to never give them your true name. So the Fae names are powerful, magical seals. Giving a Fae your true name, full name, grants them direct power and partial control over you. Always use a made-up name or a nickname. Conversely, if the mortal discovers the Fae's true name, they can use it to bind the creature into service or banish them.
Wow.
There you go. Hence the Rumpelstiltskin thing.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it comes into all the stories.
Oh, it does.
So every now and then, someone steps off the path, sees a ring of mushrooms, or hears music or singing where there should be none, or feels tempted by the smell of food and remembers, too late, that we are probably never alone out there. Stay away. Take care of yourself.
Oh, and always keep a bit of honey. Honey can save your life.
Oh, really?
Yeah. All Fae possess an absolute insustainable love for honey. If you find yourself in mortal danger or in trouble with the Fae, offering them honey can often buy your could buy your life or get you off the hook.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. Here's a little positive for you.
Yeah. Look after the bees. That's all I can say.
Save the bees.
Save the bees. And with that, I think that's the end. I think we've talked a lot about fairies. If anybody has any experience or stories or anything at all, we have had the most amazing chaps send us loads of stories. So we have got quite a few to share with you.
We are going to be sharing them periodically, I think, for a little while. Every now and again, I think we're going to do another listener story.
Yeah.
So that'll be good.
Those are coming up. But in the meantime, if you're watching this, please give us a thumbs up. Please give us a like. If you're watching on YouTube, then please subscribe. We need more subscribers. You will be a little treasure if you subscribe. Pop fairy into the comments if you've watched this far.
I love it.
Or honey.
And I will tell you that always keep the honey with you. So always stick to the path. And if you get lost, wear your clothes inside out.
And carry
your
key.
But
an iron key.
Only if you intend to hurt them. If you try to be friendly, don't do it.
No, that keeps them away, which is fine.
Well, with that being said, folks, keep your minds open and your lamps lit, and we will see you again next time at the freaking shack.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Thanks for hanging out in the shack with us. If you've got a strange story, theory, or even just a spooky question, send it to shackpackinbox@gmail.com because we'd love to hear from you. Follow us to ensure that you never miss an episode of The Freaking Shack, because listening to us is much cheaper than therapy and slightly more spooky. Until we meet again next week, Shackpackers, take care.